Let's talk about the parts, deliveries, deliverables of each stage. So the first part is easy. It is basically pitching a project and determining your data set. So the due date is February 9. So it should be a Sunday. Um, so you know, after you determine your project idea, data set, send me an email. You know, hopefully, I will be able to approve your project idea, data set, um, in the first trial. Then you will create a very short presentation. Okay, it could be 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Uh, in this presentation, basically, you will have like a PowerPoint file, like I do right now. You can use your camera and also like you should use a microphone to record your audio, and you will describe what this project is about. Okay, or and also where you find your data set, how large it is, those kind of things. And also, please write a small introductory paragraph or two. So here is the idea, by the way, about these write-ups. So at each stage, you will write something, and at the end, you will put all them together, and it will become like a complete report. So last semester, when I look at our students' reports, they change between like 15 to like 25 pages. So they have, introduction, explanation of data set, like a basic literature review, and the models, the methods they are going to use. At the end, some like numerical results and conclusions, and also at the very end, they have a references. So I will talk about the write-up section in the following slides again, but the idea is like you should like at each stage you should do some like writing, so at the end your capstone project report will be a very simple job of just getting different reports together. Okay, then you will have 2 days to watch your classmates, like three of your classmates presentation, and provide a feedback. Okay, so you will send that feedback to me. I will gather feedbacks from three students. I will also put some comments, and at the end, I will be able to provide a detailed feedback to each presenter. So in your peer review, let me see, maybe I have them here. Maybe I will have them later. So I want you to put to comment on like what was good, what was missing. If you have questions, please also ask those questions. If you have suggestions, please make those suggestions. Because last semester we had tremendous amount of very high quality suggestions, which actually change your classmates, which might change your classmates' project in the long term. Okay, and also I want you to assign a grade. So um, 5 means an excellent project, 1 means like a terrible project. But again, in each review, you will send me an email that you will say, okay, I watched this person's presentation. These are my comments, these are my questions, suggestions. At the end, my grade for his or her presentation is this, like 5 or 4 or whatever it is. Okay. So, second step is both literature review and also like basic EDA. So you will have, I guess, 2 weeks to do this. And at the end of these 2 weeks, again, you will create a short presentation. You will write something, maybe a page about what you have done at this stage, and you will upload both your write-up and also presentation file to your GitHub account. Since at this stage you will be, working with your data set, you should also upload that data set or maybe data sets to your GitHub account. And if you have done some data analysis or like transformational cleaning, please also provide those like codes to your upload them to your GitHub account. Okay, and then again you will have 2 days to do peer review. So in stage 3, you should be really comfortable with your data set. Actually, your data set should be ready to build a model, crunching those numbers, okay, or like those data sets. Okay. Um, if you have an hypothesis, you should at least test your hypothesis with one of the or some portion of the data set you have, um, or if you're going to have, if you're going to use multiple methods, you should prepare your data so that in the next step it will be very easy for you to just plug those numbers or data sets into your models so that you will be able to um, gain some information or answer your question or test your hypothesis at the very end. Again, the deadline for this step is March 29. So considering that the second step ends at March 1, so you basically have 4 weeks to complete this step. Um, I guess we have spring break in March, so you should plan accordingly. Okay, don't say I have 4 weeks. I can do maybe later. Please don't do that. As soon as you are done with the previous step, start for the following step. And again, you will have 2 days for peer review. And in the last part, which will take place in April, and you are supposed to finish, right? So you should do the EDA and data cleaning and transformation. They should be all done in the previous steps, or I should say. Then you should, in the previous step, again, you are supposed to at least play with some portion of your data, or maybe one data set of your, if you have a large data sets. But in this stage, actually, you will do the real job. Using different machine learning algorithms or building different AI or neural networks, creating results, plotting them in beautiful pictures, figures. So this is the main step, and the deadline for this step is May 1st. Okay. And at this stage, actually, there's no peer review. I will review everything, and hopefully, both the work itself, report, and presentation, everything will be great, and then you will get a nice score. So, how about this grading mechanism? So, I have a very nice Excel sheet. Actually, it's like Google spreadsheet, which does this like all automatic grading. So at the delivery 1, you'll get 10 points, delivery 2, 20 points, delivery 3, 30 points, and delivery 4, 40 points, and at the end you will have 100, right? So at each step, your work, I will grade, for example, for the first step, I will grade the 60% of the your first delivery grade, like 6 out of 10 will be determined by me, and 2 will come from your report, and you will get also 2 points on your peer review. So last semester we had some students. Unfortunately, they didn't pay attention to this peer review, and they basically got 0 out of 14 in this region. Okay, and when you look at our grading, if you start at 86, you are at the boundary between B and A, and it's very likely to lose some other points at the presentation or in report. Then you will get a B easily. So this is one side of the grading mechanism. The other side of the grading mechanism is the following. If someone gets an A from this course, then later on when I'm going to write a reference letter for you guys, I should be able to say comfortably that, hey, this person can work as a data scientist and he will be a merit for your company. Okay, so A means this student has everything it takes to become successful. So why I'm telling you this? Because when I look at the last 2 semesters, all the students who got A from this capstone, right now they work as a either like a data scientist or like a data scientist manager at nice companies, at great companies. And people who got B, most of them right now work as like a DA, like data analyst or QDA. So report is important. 23% of your score will come from the report. Your presentation, the implementation of your work is most important. Of course, it's 63%. And unfortunately, we have a late delivery grading policy. For each day you're late, you will lose 15% of your score. Okay, let's say if you give a perfect uh, you know, delivery, but if you're just 1 day late, you will get 85 out of 100 for that um, step. So when you review your friends' presentations, classmates' presentation, please look at the technical content. Okay, the format of the presentation is also very important. The use of images and visualizations are important. The way it's presented, it's explained is very important. Uh, we also don't want you to create 55 minutes long presentations, right? We determined the duration of each talk. Please keep um, your talk within those limits, and also like at the end, take all of these into account when you are about to give a grade to your classmate. So you are supposed to upload your presentation to YouTube, since your UMB's email account allows you to do that. In terms of space, please use YouTube, not other video uploading systems. As I told you again, at the end of steps 1, 2, and 3, you will be watching 3 of your classmates' presentations, and you will provide feedback about them. And in your review, please write, the things done right, the things done wrong or missing. If you have suggestions, please provide them. If you have questions, ask them, so we can ask. I can forward those questions to the presenter. Then in the next time when he or she makes a presentation, you know, answers those questions. And also don't forget to assign a grade to your classmates. And please don't assign a grade like A, B, C, D, or like 85, 65. Very simple. Grading is very simple. If it is an excellent presentation from technical content and also like visuals or like verbally, give them a 5. If it's a very good presentation, but there's something missing, maybe it is slightly weak from technical point of view or visually, right? So you can give them a 4. 3 means like technically, this wasn't like a good presentation. Also, maybe there might be some presentation skills missing, right? And if it's a poor job, don't hesitate to give a 2 or 1 to each other, because I will also do the same grade. Okay, if the grade that I'm giving to that student and if the grade that you are giving to that student, if they are so different, it means either like you or I, like one of like we don't know what we are talking about, or we didn't do a good job in terms of judging each other. Okay, of course, this does not necessarily mean that you have to be harsh to each other. If they did something well, just use good sentences, good words about it. If they did something terrible, again, you can you can phrase it in a nice way. Like you did this, but you could have done that by using this algorithm. Blah blah. All right. So maybe it's a repetition, but again, you will have 2 days for the peer review. So please do your job on time, meaning that if you are late uploading your presentation and sharing that on our Blackboard page, it means you're also putting your classmates in danger, right? Because they only have 2 dates, and if you put in the next day, it will create trouble for them. So we will share links of our YouTube videos through Blackboard. Okay. So in the Blackboard, I will create 4 different discussion forums. So the first discussion forum will be like Delivery 1, and then you will simply log in and you will put a comment under the my main thread. Then your friends can follow the links to your presentations. By the way, last semester, like one of the feedback I got from our students is that they really liked watching each other's presentations, and they say we learned a lot. Like, I didn't know this method, I didn't know that tool. Um, so watching each other's presentation again, like it's very useful. So at the end, like when you watch your classmates' presentation, when you send a review to me, I will also watch, of course. I will also read your reviews, and at the end, I will provide a detailed feedback to students. Of course, these, the feedbacks at the step one, they wouldn't be that rich, like that rich in terms of content. But as we make progress, the technical content of the feedback will also increase. Okay. And don't forget that I will also grade your peer review performance. Last semester, like I had a couple of students, and they were basically saying, "Hey, this student did this. It is a great project. I'm so curious about his next steps." This is not a review, okay? The review, should be constructive. Like, hey, like this student is using this data set and this method, but I think um, since there is this problem, the method he's going to use will not be very successful because of these reasons. My suggestion to him or to her would be using alternative methods like this. That is a useful suggestion. Okay. So like last year we had a couple of people using like Twitter data, but Twitter data is like very biased data. Because of like several reasons. Um, the one is like people like whenever they're happy or whenever they travel, they see like beautiful places. They don't go to Twitter. They just go to Instagram. They just post beautiful pictures, right? So people go to Twitter if they are angry. Like I never read a nice comment about like an airline, like nice comment about like an airline on Twitter, like, "Hey Delta, I'm so happy with you. Each time I travel with you, I see different part of the world." I never see something like that. Whenever they are late, whenever their flight canceled, or some other things, people go to Twitter and they say like, "Screw you, Delta." Okay, so like if you're going to do sentimental analysis, like on Twitter, you are very likely to get negative comments about products. Okay, so that is the nature of this business. So like, or the other thing is if you're going to look at the like social media data over years, it is also dangerous because the number of social media users and it might increase or decrease, depending on the platform. So you need to do some sort of like normalization. So what we do is when students make presentations like this, like we are supposed to give feedback about those kind of issues so that the final result will be more accurate and also unbiased. Okay. So about presentations, you are free to use any template, but please try to make something looking professional, something nice. There are like very simple rules, like for example, 4 by 6, which means please like don't have uh, like 6 lines with more than 4 words, or like 4 sentences with six more than 6 words. Okay, like don't just copy a paragraph from your report and paste into your presentation. Don't do that. Presentations should be simple to follow, easy to follow, right? The other thing is if you are going to use some images or also like data sets you find on internet, please cite them appropriately. Okay, so this is the image I'm using, but I took it from this web page or something like that. So in the report, there are a couple of very important things. One of them is please use the same font type, like Arial or Times New Roman or whatever it is, but same font type through the entire document. Don't use type one for the headers, another font type for subheaders or subtitles. Don't do that. It doesn't look professional. The other thing is, please justify the text. So what does justification? Like in both Word or Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, you can align the text like you can have like left alignment, right alignment, or centered. But we don't want this. What we want is um, justified. So it should have like very straight on the left and on the right. Okay, please make sure that your text is justified. If it is not, then I will send you an I will write about this in my feedback, but also you will lose 1 or 2 points depending on the type of the report. About figures, if you're going to have a figure in your report, there are two rules. Rule number one, you have to discuss that figure in your report. Okay, otherwise, why you are using that figure, right? That image. And rule number two, there must be a caption right under that image. If you have a table, that table has to have a caption on top. You should enumerate all the images and also tables. So in the report, you can just mention them. Hey, as we show in Figure one, as it is listed in the table 4, or whatever it is. Page numbers are very useful because when I provide feedback, I say, hey, like in the second paragraph of page 4, no, there's this problem, blah blah. Um, Please have a separate section for references. Okay, and for the references, we generally use IEEE format, meaning that like if it's like a, for example, paper, we provide like the first letter of the first name dot last name, comma between multiple if there are multiple orders, the title of the report between double quotes. Then we have the like uh, publication name, page, date, blah blah blah. So please go to. Actually, I will provide that link in the following slides. Visit that page to learn how to cite, journal papers, books, and websites appropriately. Because if you are citing a website, you should provide, hey, like this is the link of that website, and I visited that website on this specific date. Okay, otherwise, um, uh, it is not. Like it will not fit the purpose of the project. Okay, here are some resources. I have it's a single page like my website slash data606 slash videos.html. This website explains how you can record your presentations. Okay, and actually this is a page we created when I was at GW, so it might be a little bit of out of date, but still I think it's useful. So go to this website, IEEE, reference style, and learn about citing journals, books, web pages, and some other things. So we have a writing center at UMBC. Um, so if you can send them your write up in a week or like in 2 weeks advance, they can actually also provide you some feedback. So this is not very important for our capstone project report, but if you're going to write a thesis or dissertation, working with them might be a good idea. And also we have a web page which actually shows you how to do research on any subject. So these are just main guidelines. But like doing a research is a different experience and different expertise. And if you don't know how to conduct a project, for example, this might be a data science project, then please try to read books about like software development, project cycle, or like how to run a complete data science project. I think some of those books are listed in our syllabus, but it's a unique experience, especially if you're working in large teams. Then there are some techniques like Scrum, Agile, using platforms like I forgot the name, like Jira, those kind of things. All right. So I talked too much as usual. Another thing is I have a LinkedIn account. If you are not contacts on LinkedIn, please add me as a contact of yours, so that after graduation we can keep in touch. And I'm also like very curious um, how you will do in industry after graduation. The other thing is, in the long term, we will have this UMBC data science graduates LinkedIn group, so that we can uh, inform each other about job openings uh, through that LinkedIn group. So once again, if you have a question, please don't hesitate to email me. During the weekdays, I'm quite responsive. My email address is simsec@umbc.edu. Um, and here I should I show a link where I got the images that I use in this presentation from. And please do the same thing when you do presentations. Thank you so much. I'm very excited that we will have a wonderful semester. But at the same time, I'm a little bit um, scared because we have a much larger population, both in my classes and also in our program. So it will be a unique experience. Thank you.